Hello everyone, welcome with the quick and easy tip with another video about the SQL Server Integration Services SSIS. Today we're gonna have a part 20, how to load multiple or single XML files to SQL Server table using SSIS package. So let's say I have here in this folder I have one file XML, and later on I'm going to try to load multiple folders here of XML. Let's say I have this file XML, trying to open it with a notepad. So I have columns. I have ID. I have 4 columns: ID, first name, last name, and state. And then for the tag, I have customers list, and then for the attribute I have list. So far I have 4 columns here, and each column has 1 row. So and then in the SQL Server table I have a table that I created. I have table just created called customers in SSIS test database. So let's go to SSDT, and then we're going to create a new package, and then we're just going to name it, give it like a proper name. It's going to be part 20 load multiple or single XML files. So since I have only one file, so I'm gonna start loading one file, and then later I'm gonna start loading multiple files. Let's just load this file now. So back to SSDT, we're gonna drag and drop the data flow task, and double click on data flow task. Since for the source we are using XML source, so drag and drop the XML source, and also I want to load the file to SQL Server, which is going to be OnlyDB destination. So drag and drop OnlyDB destination, and also I'm going to drag and drop the data conversion, because the data comes from this source is different than the data type in my table. In my table, for the customers, I set the ID to integer, first name varchar, which is non-Unicode, string 100, non-Unicode 100, and then for the character another non-Unicode 2. So back here, so let's just configure the XML source. Double click on it, and then we're gonna navigate to the location of the file. I have one file here. Double click on it. And then you have to create you have to generate XSD. Double click on it, and then we're gonna paste it on the same folder. You can paste it a different folder. I'm gonna paste it at the same destination for the file source. Click save. For the columns, click for the columns. This is just give us a warning about the length, but I'm just gonna use a 50 byte here. I'm not gonna use 2025 or something like that. So just click OK, don't worry about it. So that's for the columns. We have all the columns matched. This columns comes from this column names come from the source XML. You can change it, you can change the name. I'm just gonna leave it, I'm not gonna change it. So click OK. Now we're gonna try to convert the data. So connect it to the data conversion, double click, and then select all of them. I want to convert the ID to integer. I'm going to choose a 4 by sign integer. For non-Unicode, I'm going to convert it to the string. This is going to be, for Unicode, I'm going to change it to non-Unicode, which is string. Same way here, string here, string here. And then for the length, for the character, I'm going to have 2. The state, I'm gonna have last name 100, and then first name for the 100, because if you go back to SQL Server, I have first name 100, 102. That's for the length. So click OK. We're all good. Connected. Try to connect to OLEDB destination, double click on OLEDB destination, then we're going to create a new connection. We're going to navigate to the database. So in this server, so I have my server going to create it. I'm going to show you how I'm going to create a new one. Click new. Now we have to get the server name. So back to SQL Server, you can get the name here. You can select it. Select server name. You can just execute this statement and then copy the server name, or you can click on connect database engine. You can copy the server name from here. Back to SSDT, paste the server name. Now we're going to select the proper database. If you go back to SQL Server, my database is going to be SSIS test. So choose the proper database, click on connection, test connection succeeded, click OK, click OK, click OK, and then we're going to navigate to the table. I have multiple tables, but I want my data to go inside this table, which is a customers table. We chose the customer table, and then for the mappings, now we're gonna convert. After we're gonna map from the new converted data. This is gonna be different names here, because if you go back to data conversion here, after we convert the data, so these columns come from the source XML, and after we convert it, we're gonna have a new name alias. It's gonna be output alias, copy first name, ID first name. This is the new converted data output alias. So back again to mappings, and then you can just we maps here first. Copy of ID, copy of the first name, copy of the last name, then copy of state. We should be good to go. Click OK now. If you run the package, the table, make sure we don't have data inside the table. Back to SSDT, run the package. The package has been executed successfully. Back here, execute it. We load all the XML file. We have 6 rows inside the table. If you go back to the table, if you go back to the table, to the file, and then try to open it with a notepad. If you look here, this is the first row, second row, that's the third row, fourth row, fifth, and that's the 6th row here. So let's do multiple. How are we gonna do the multiple? Let's just truncate the table. So now back to SSDT. How we're gonna do the table? You know that. Let's just copy. I have those 2 files here. You're gonna copy them. I'm gonna paste them here. Let's say I have a table. In order to, you don't have a problem with the connection or the confliction of. You remember, if you go back to SSDT, if you click on the source, we generated the SSDT. In order, if like you don't have too much problem, or you can have an error confliction, just delete all of them. I will suggest you just get rid of the whole things. Get rid of the whole things right now, or even for the connection, just delete it. Delete. Let's just copy the name here. Delete the whole package. Delete the whole package. You're gonna create a new one. So just rename it again. Now it's going to be a multiple. The same way now. Drag and drop data flow task. And then back to the table. Try to remove the XST. This is going to be exist. So just delete it. We don't have it anymore. So back to SSDT. Now double click, and then we're gonna start over. We're gonna repeat again. XML source is going to be in data conversion, and then OLEDB destination. Try to configure it, navigate to the proper file. Just choose any one of them. It doesn't matter. We're going to use it for each loop. We're going to loop through all the files here. Select the first one, let's say, generate SXD, save it, columns. Everything is mapped here. I don't want to change the output columns name here. And then try to connect the precedent constraint to the data to data conversion, and then we'll convert the data. We're going to select 4-byte signed integer. This is going to be 9 Unicode. The length is going to be 200 for the last name and 100 for first name. Click OK. Connect. Try to connect the precedent constraint to the already destination. We're not gonna. So I already had my connection set up. So select the proper table mappings. We're gonna change the column. That's the new output columns. That's the data after we convert the data. Last name and state. Click OK. Now what we're gonna do? We need to loop through all the files. We got how many files here? We got 3 files. 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna use a for each loop. Back to SSDT, and then drag and drop for each loop, and then a drag and drop data flow task inside for each loop. We're going to configure the for each loop. Double click on for each loop, click on collection, and then for the path here, I don't want to hard code the path here. You don't want to hard code it, because let's say you want to hard code it here. What about if you change the paths? You're gonna move the file, you're gonna change the file path here. So it's the best way, just create a variable, and any component associated with the file path, you just have to change the file path from the variable, and anything associated with the variable will be changed automatically. So cancel. We're gonna create a new variable. We're gonna call it a file path. And for the data type will be string here. Paste the file path here, and then double click on for each loop, click on connection tab, and then for the expression we're going to set the file path will be dynamics here, so directory, and then we're going to drag and drop the file path that we just created. This is the variable, the file path. Click OK, click OK, and then what do you want to execute all the files. For example, if you have here a text file, CSV file, Excel file, or SQL file, you want to execute all of them, you want to load all of them, or you are interested only XML file. So far I'm interested only the XML file, so I'm just gonna copy the extension of the file XML, and then back to SSDT, get rid of the asterisk, and then paste the extension of the file XML. You want to say full qualified or name question? Well, it just doesn't matter for me. I'm just going to choose name. This is not going to do for this scenario. If you choose the full qualified or name and extension, it's not going to do anything for this type of scenario. I'm just going to select the name and extension. So I want to save the name and extension in some kind of variable. So click on variable mappings. Now we have to create a new new variable. We're going to call it a file name here. Click OK, click OK. So far, if you right click in the white pane, click on variable, we have a file path and we have a file name. We set the file path and the file name, so the for each loop will loop through all the files and will try to get the name and extension from this folder. It's going to loop 3 times. You got 1, 2, 3. So back to SSDT. What's going to happen now? If you run the package now, if you execute the package, what's going to happen? Since you have four files here, 3 files, the for each loop will try to run 3 times on the same folder, on the same file here. You're going to run 3 times. You're going to have from 1 to 6 3 times. And in order to avoid that, we need to loop 1 time here, 1 time here, and 1 time here only. Back to SSDT. Since we don't have a connection, you remember, like if you have a TXT file, you have like for example, if you have the source, if you have the Excel source or flat file source or any other sources, when you try to configure it, you're gonna have a new connection here, and then based on the new connection you're gonna set connection strength or the Excel file path, but we don't have it. So how we're gonna look through the files? So select the data flow task, right click on data flow task, and then click on properties, and then select change the delay validation to true, and then scroll down to the expression. From the expression click this little dots. Now we're gonna set the property here. Says if you have a flat file you're gonna choose the connection string. If you have a Excel file, if you have flat file, connection string. If you have Excel file, you're gonna select the Excel file. But we are XML, so we're gonna choose XML source, open bracket, close bracket, the square bracket, XML data. Choose the data, and on expression click on this little dot. We're gonna build the expression. We're gonna have a file full path here, which is gonna be a file path plus double quote backslash double quote plus a file name. That they call it a file pool. That's a file full path. That's mean file full path, the file path plus the name of the file plus the extension. So, and the file path we already set the variable, and then the file name that's comes from the for each loop. So that's the file path. For a double quote, I had a double quote here. I have a double backslashes here because. So just click OK. Click OK. If you go back to variable, I don't have backslash here. You can have a backslash here to avoid the two backslashes, but I'm okay. So let's just back again, properties, and then on the expression. This is very important here. You see that I set the property on the XML source, XML data, and then I have a file full path here, file path plus the file name. So let's go back to SQL Server. Delete things. Let's run. Let's make sure. Let's just so we don't have data in our table. Let's go back and execute the table. Execute the package and see what happened. Execute. Start the execution now. So the execution has been, the package has been successfully executed. Stop the package. Back to SQL Server. Selected. See that? We have 18 rows here. You got from 1, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to 18. This is the US, and I have Europe, and I have Asia. This is unique. There is no duplicate in the data here. If you go back to the table, if you go back to the folder, right click, open it. We set the state to USA. So this is from 1 to 6 with the US. The second file, XML file, from 13 with Asia to 18. That's the second file. And the third file from 7, which is Europe, all the way down to 12. So we have from 1 to 6, 7 to 12, and then 13 to 18. So back here, see that? From 1 all the way down to 18, we have 18 rows here. Thank you very much, guys, and have a nice day.